But we're going to transition into our MLB Roundup.
Awesome.
Yep, MLB Roundup. And I'm going to start off with yours team this week, Juice.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And a question that I have for you.
Sure.
Should Almora play every day?
Well, he has been. That's
right.
cool. He's in the lineup tonight.
Well, I know he's been playing every day, but a lot people are asking why he's playing every day, which I don't understand why people are asking that. I think
he's been so electric. And I've moved over to the Ian Happ needs to move down motion because they're not doing him any service, giving him limited at bats, and I think that it's kind of messed with his confidence because you've seen it in his swing. Almora's taken this and he's ran with it. And I think it was great. I know I'm going to keep plugging Danny Parkins because I listen to the score a lot. And he came on, he's a friend of the show, and he had Albert Almora on Tuesday when I was listening on the way home. And the coolest thing that Almora said was Danny asked him about left-handed pitching and how he's only starting against left-handed pitching. And Almora says, I think it's kind of crazy that people think I can't hit right-handers. Because if you look at the splits, yeah, sure, maybe he hasn't been as good. Obviously, Almora usually hits over 300 against lefties. His slugging is always up against lefties. He sees left-handed pitching better. It's just known. But actually, he's been really solid against right-handed pitching, batting 284 at the time that I had looked up the stat. And his defense is just so irreplaceable in center field when you're putting guys like Schwarber in left. He makes so much impact when it comes to defensively that it's hard to get rid of a guy like that who, yeah, he's going to hit 280. That's perfect because not a lot of guys in your lineup are hitting over 280, and he plays awesome defense. His wins above replacement has to be up there with some of the best. I wouldn't say that it's up there, but for center field wise, it's definitely higher than his projection. I love Albert Almora, and I think that the everyday lineup with him in it is better because he brings the speed, he brings the fight, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He's humble because obviously he's just starting his career, and a lot of these guys really love playing with him because if you see him in center field, he lays out, man. He's giving
a great
his effort.
fielder.
He's gonna be in the talk for a Gold Glove. He is because he just cuts. He just cuts off so much. 95% of the war of the diamond is caught, but it's crazy to see like him out there. I know I kind of fumbled through that a little bit, but it's. I think he should be in the lineup every day. He's been hot. He's been hitting. Ride the hot hand until you can't, and then after that, you're gonna have Hayward back, and there's a lot of talk that maybe Hayward should play a little center field more often now because. And Hayward's been better than his normal his normal self, but
right.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's they have so many players on the roster that as much as I want them to make a choice and trade one of them, it's like they're still so young that you can't pull the trigger. And I've seen some Manny Machado talk lately that the John Heyman saying that the Cubs are going to be all in on Manny. I just don't see it.
If you guys have to give up Javi Baez and like Addison Russell to get this guy, it's
the
insane,
talk
man.
was that they would have to give up Happ and probably either Schwarber or Addison Russell.
That's not going to be. That's not enough.
That's too much. Well, and then plus obviously 2 prospects. But this is the other thing too that the Orioles. This is a rental, so yeah, you're going to get some prime, but I wonder how many people are willing to pay prime for a guy they don't know who's going to be back. Like if I'm the Cubs, unless he's coming in and saying yes, he's going to be on the roster next year, I'm not trading anybody because that's way too much for a rental that realistically it's not a need. Addison Russell is finding his stride here lately. Why are we trying to mess up the lineup and put, especially the defense of it too? Think of Manny Machado I know he could probably do it. He's a great fielder, but he's going to have to play short if he plays for the Cubs.
He has actually been playing a little bit of short with Baltimore.
And I know he's been okay, but like
he's been doing well.
The Cubs are so touted with their infield when it comes to Baez Russell.
You just don't jack it up.
No.
This team hasn't given you any reason to trade these guys.
And they're slumping, and they're
I'm not just saying that because I want Manny Machado either. I'm just saying that
it's not good business.
Don't mess with the young core, man.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's stupid.
But yes, Almora should play every day.
Okay.
Until he shows that he can't play every day, he should play every day.
All right. Well, one more question. Well, I probably have two more actually. I'm going to skip probably one of them. But forget about you. What's wrong with Q?
Well, nice. We were thinking of that all day, weren't you? To touch on you, you looked pretty good.
Did I?
To touch on you?
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Fantastic.
No, but to touch on Darvish, I thought he looked pretty good the other night. I know he had some cramps. He left early with some cramps, and the Cubs ended up winning that game. Mm-hmm. But I liked what I saw. I think it's a building block type of thing with him. He just needs to go out there and get some innings, man. Because he hasn't had the feel for the fastball, hasn't been locating it very well. He's got these 5 pitches, and obviously the Cubs have been trying to get him to cut down on using all 5 of them because it's really not necessary to have 5 pitches like that. But when you're switching over, this is another thing with this Cubs team, we have so much changeover on the coaching side of it that everyone's freaking out and saying, oh, they should be 10 games up. First of all, the Central's pretty decent. Mm-hmm. It's the Pirates are playing over their heads. You still got the Brewers who are leading the division. It's been it's been a dogfight, and I think it's gonna be a dogfight for a while here. Usually the Cubs seem to come out of the break and they refocus, they run away with the division. But Q, I don't worry too much about. He hasn't been. Q relies on his location a lot. He doesn't have crazy velocity. He's going to rely on his off-speed pitches. He just hasn't been locating the ball very well. It's a guy that I don't worry about because he's going to find his stride.
I completely agree with that. Q is a historically slow starter.
Absolutely.
And if you remember, reference back the last 2 years, he was with the White Sox. This happens.
All the time.
You got to understand, too, Q's in a new situation, being in the National League and all that noise. I feel like we talk about this every damn video. It's people just freak out about the Cubs.
This is what happens when you win a World Series and your fan base gets hungry for another one and nothing changes on the roster and people thought it was so easy. People think it's so easy to win a World Series. It's probably one of the hardest trophies to win.
It is.
If not, I would say the Stanley Cup is probably the hardest to win. But 2016 was the most magical year if you're a Cubs fan. Enjoy it because it is so impossible to do that again. Yeah. They were so dominant. I can name on my hand 5 times a team had the best record in the league and won the World Series. Or how many times, the best team usually wins the World Series. Doesn't happen. I mean, last year, you could make an argument that Houston was the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The year before the Cubs. But before then, I mean, you had mishmashes. How many St. Louis teams have I watched with 86 wins win the World Series? Why? Because they get there and they get hot, and then that's what happens.
It's a game of streaks.
Yeah, and that's kind of we'll address your next question here. Is Joe Madden good or lucky? It's a combination of both. Baseball is both.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of things about this, and believe it or not, I forgot to write it down for the White Sox, but this question, I should have put it below the other question, but this question was what was going to transition into the White Sox.
Okay. I mean, it's...
But go ahead on Joe Madden. I would love to hear your opinion on it.
There are a lot of people that say that Joe Madden won the World Series despite himself in 2016. There's a lot of moves during that you can second guess when you're looking back at a game that goes 10 innings and they win, obviously. Do I agree he should have taken Hendricks out at the time he took him out during the game? No. But that doesn't mean that Joe should still be addressing things like this. When they won the World Series, they had 140 different lineups. Everybody this year is talking about how he changes the lineup all the time. This is what he does. If you look back at the last series against the White Sox too, Javi Baez hit first in the one game that they won, game 1. Game 2, he hit 6th. In the first game, he leads off the game with a triple and puts the White Sox behind the 8-ball.
Which is not hard to do, but
right,
yes.
But still, this is Joe Madden under the radar genius here. So he comes out, hits a triple. They drive him in, up 1-0, and then it kept going. It avalanched after that. Game 2, he bats him 6th, and Javi comes up with the chance to drive people in and hits one into the gap, and he drives people in. The lineup is going to switch based on the matchup and the way Joe looks at that game. Essentially, he wanted his best hitter up to start the game to get a team that struggles out of the gate behind the 8 ball.
Right. So you think that Joe Madden is good?
I think it's both.
How long has he been? Well, how long
lucky.
has he been there? He's been there for 4 years, correct?
Yes. Well,
Okay, well-
2015, 3 years. 2015, 2016, 2017. Yeah, 4 years now.
Yeah, this is his 4th year, right?
My mistake.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in 3 years, hang on. In 3 years, you're telling me this guy has made a National League Championship
Three
series
times.
3
Back to back
times
to back.
with the World Series appearance and win, and people are okay. Hang on, this is what pisses me off. I'm just going off real quick, and then I'm getting. For the people in Chicago that think that Joe Madden should get fired and that Coach Q for the Blackhawks should get fired, you're fucking stupid.
Agreed.
I'm just telling you now, you're fucking stupid, and I'm sorry to swear and get pissed off like that, but you guys, like, are you kidding me? That shit's dynasty shit. It's dynasty shit right there. Like, if you think that, please, don't talk sports anymore. Because it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I agree.
Come on, man.
What
A
are you letting
dynasty,
the World
three,
Series? The
three
guy won
Stanley Cups,
The guy won the one World Series that you've had in 108 years,
and he's been
and he's bad.
and he's been
How's
to the
he bad?
he's been to the championship series 3 times in a
Right.
row. You know, like this, it's a joke, and he's probably going for a 4th time in a row.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Hopefully, we win this one.
I'm just saying, like, it's just, I'm sorry.